this is Anna and it's Zach with me today. And today we are going to talk about, what are we going to talk about, Zach?
We're going to talk about interviewing and applying for international companies and nailing your job search.
Oh my God, I think we all need that. Even us might need it.
Hopefully not for a while.
Hopefully not for a while, yeah. Okay, so Zach, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and why are you an expert in the field, by the way?
Yes, absolutely. So I've been doing recruitment for a number of years now, primarily working with tech and software engineering companies. I'm part of Develop. We're a leading contributor to tech and software engineering recruitment. We started out in London, we're now here in Miami, and we help a lot of international companies.
Wow, this is amazing, very impressive. So I'm very excited to pick your brain on recruitment and how to nail a job in an international company. And if you don't mind, I would like to start off talking about LinkedIn. Because, even today I had a conversation with someone from our community and they were like, so Anna, what do you prefer, LinkedIn or Twitter for job search, for example? Because Twitter is a big thing here in the United States, at least, they would say Europe is a little bit different. So I want to hear your opinion on that one too. So to LinkedIn or not to LinkedIn? That is a question.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I think if you were to not use LinkedIn, you'd be mad. LinkedIn is the best job hunting tool that we have available to us at the moment. I use it as a recruiter to find people jobs. I use it to find the companies that are hiring from the perspective of a candidate. It is literally the best tool that you have available to you. It is your resume. Think about it as if you put the same detail in as you would to your resume. I would literally detail the skills you've used at each individual company. I detail what you did, what projects you worked on, as much as you can do, so that it reads like a CV. Because this is the first thing employers see. And often, people won't even ask for a resume if your LinkedIn is good.
Really? Is that so?
Yeah,
oh
absolutely.
My God. Well, I know that LinkedIn released a new feature where you can convert your profile into a resume. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never done it, but is whatever you have on the outcome, is this something that you can actually present to a potential employer?
100%. If I'm recruiting and I'm looking for a non-active candidate in terms of they're not searching for a job, I will, like you said, just convert their LinkedIn into a PDF. And as far as they're concerned, as long as it's good enough, that's the resume.
Amazing. So no more templates needed
Exactly.
for the resume.
Yeah, exactly.
You can be 100% sure you have all the information necessary in there. So what would be your recommendation for people who want to revamp their LinkedIn? Or what are the things that you as a recruiter, you look at my LinkedIn, I should have we should have done this. I should have showed you my LinkedIn, and you'd be like, okay, Anna, this is what you need to improve. Yeah. So what do you as a recruiter look at right away?
Yeah.
And if you see okay, this is missing, this is what tells. If this is missing, this is what I can tell about this candidate.
Yeah. So completely up to date. You don't want to have old employers that says you're still working there. Some people make that error. You want to ensure that you've not got irrelevant experience on there. I'd say the same for a CV when I'm talking about a resume. People don't need to know that you're a bartender in 2010. Only put relevant experience on there. It's great to have the progression moving through. Don't just put
everything.
Yeah, exactly. But don't just put if let's say you're at one company and you're promoted 3 times within that company, don't just put the most recent role. Show the progression and the promotions that you've had within each business. That's really relevant. And just having a nice headshot, a nice professional photo, because that's the first thing that people see, right?
What about posting on LinkedIn? People, if you're not a blogger or influencer, it's hard, for people to post things on LinkedIn. So let's say you're a software engineer, but you're not a blogger, maybe yet, I don't know.
Yeah.
So what do you post what do you post about? What are the topics? What do you talk about in LinkedIn? Or is it even necessary to post, or you just use it as your business card? Like you said, your resume or your business card.
It's nice to have an online presence, but you don't need to necessarily. Some people use it, let's say you're looking for a job or you went through a layoff, they go, this is the situation, I've just been through a layoff, and I see posts like this all the time. And people will then use that to share to their networks. People might find it interesting. I've had people sent over to me who've recently been laid off just because they did a post. That's one example. But yeah, I'd stay.
It's a good one, or
it's a good one.
Okay,
Yeah, it's definitely a good. Sorry, I should have been clear. It's definitely a good thing to post about that kind of thing if that's something that's going to benefit you. But equally, I would stay active, but I wouldn't post for the sake of posting. If there's an interesting topic, or you want to engage with people on a certain topic, or you need help on a certain topic, or maybe you need to speak to someone with a certain profession, it's a great place to reach out and make those connections.
Yeah, my recommendation here is, you can share your experiences or your work journey or your learning journey. Let's say you sign up for a course, or like you got a certification or something. It's good to share about this. I think for a potential employer, this is kind of like a proof that this person is, improving, progressing, and looking for something else in the career. And I mean, if you have that skill for writing, it would be great to share your, lessons learned. Your work journey, something like that. I actually have one more question regarding CV and resume. There were a couple of times already you said CV and then you said resume. So which one is that? Which one is correct?
There's I don't think there's one correct option. It's just I've found coming over to America, people use the term resume more often. But in where I'm from England, we say CV, but the terms are interchangeable. They mean the same thing in my book.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because there's been always debate about this. All right, great that we cleared out the CV versus resume. I want to talk more about that now. So what are your resume hacks, or the resume hacks that you would like to share with our audience here today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would keep in mind that it's customizable. Like, each opportunity is going to be very individual. Your CV should be too. Your resume should reflect that. So let's say you really want this job. You want to make sure your skills are reflected. If, let's say, it's healthcare or whatever domain it may be, maybe you'd highlight those sections of your resume. You'd bring them to the forefront. Or maybe they're working on a specific project. You could reference projects that are related to what they're working on. You want to make yourself as relevant as possible and understand that your CV needs to be reflective of that.
I believe that we can make it, sorry to interrupt you, but I believe that it's important to say here that if you want to make it relevant, you have to be very, very careful about the job description, because I feel like this is what people disregard sometimes. They're not really careful about the job description, and they don't look for keywords.
Yes.
Yeah, in the job description. And this is what this is what you said, right? You have to customize your resume, highlighting like healthcare. You're looking for a job in a healthcare startup? Go for it. Talk about your healthcare, experience, things like that.
Exactly. And in terms of being digestible, sometimes I jump onto a resume and the person's got 10, 15 years experience. Great. They've now got a 10-page resume. No one needs 10 pages. You're never going to get past page 1 or 2.
How many pages?
One to 2, 3 at the absolute max. And people might disagree with that, but as someone that looks at resumes all day, I'm telling you, I don't get past the third page.
How many resumes a day do you typically review?
I mean,
a lot.
Maybe 100 some days.
100, yeah.
Maybe.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Sometimes,
maybe more. It depends.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
depends.
Yeah, like I don't see you really wanting to look through 100 resumes that are 3 pages even long.
Exactly.
So for me, let's say I have 15 years of experience, right? And I'm really proud of this experience. I want to talk about it all on my resume. So do I not include some things? Like what do I do here?
So what I would do, I would absolutely start with a summary section saying, I'm Anna, I've got X, Y, and Z experience, 15 years plus in these kind of industries. Like a nice summary of who you are. And then I would have maybe the 3, 4, maybe 5 most recent things and a nice breakdown of what they are. And then almost in a condensed section at the bottom, any other experiences, but only relevant experiences. You don't want to, let's say you're applying for a job in tech, there you go, all your tech experience.
All the tech only.
But we don't want to know, maybe you did hospitality when you were 18 or something like that. We don't need to know about that. No one's going to be, it's no longer interesting. And that's what we see maybe more with more junior candidates that are trying to bulk out their CV, and they end up putting things that aren't relevant on there. So we want to avoid that.
Yeah. Well, speaking about junior candidates, I frequently see people being really not proud of what they did before they decided to break into tech, which sometimes is not really a good thing, because let's say a lot of people come to tech, at least like from where I'm from, like Ukraine right now, they used to have like small businesses, like they were business people, entrepreneurs, but not tech entrepreneurs, right? And now they decided to reskill, right? And they're like, okay, I don't know what to say on my resume. Like, I have no prior tech experience. I didn't like work for anyone, no commercial experience. Of course, they did the boot camp, so they have some non-commercial experience there. But here, I personally think it's a mistake not to mention that you have business skills.
100%. I'm with you. If it's relevant, definitely put it on there. But what you're talking about here, I think it's interesting, and it's a topic we've touched on before, in terms of candidates that maybe don't have that in-industry experience yet. So they're not like, oh, he's done 3 years at this tech business doing software engineering, he's done 3 years here. Doesn't have that yet, let's say. What you then have the opportunity to do is show your work. So you talked about maybe they've done a boot camp. What side projects have they done? What did they do in the boot camp? What were the specific projects? Show them your work. If you have a GitHub or something like that, I would literally, and we're talking on the perspective of a software engineer, right, or someone technical, that's the first thing. Go, please check out my GitHub, go and see the work I've done. And then a technical manager might go, okay, he's not got, he's not done the
savvy yet.
He's not done the years yet, but we can learn
skills.
Exactly. Well, more like if you can't have the experience back it up, show me what you can do.
Yeah.
And then they get the opportunity to check out their work and stuff like that.
So to sum it up, it's a good idea if you don't have prior experience in tech, it's a good idea to try and do something and show what you can do. Even if you're not a professional in that, you can still showcase your work or what you want to do.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have a LinkedIn profile.
Yes.
We have a professional CV.
Yes.
And now it's time to go for a job interview.
Yes.
Right? So let's talk about job interview, how it happens, and the questions. And of course, we all can Google. I hope you can Google, guys, as well. We all can Google these 100 top job interview questions. Or like 50 questions, 50 common job interview questions. But do people actually do recruiters, or do you guys actually ask these questions, or do you have questions of your own?
Such a good question. So much of it will be to do with your experience. So it'll be like, Anna, tell me about when you worked here. It will be so specific to you. I would always recommend, if I was jumping into an interview, I'd have my resume up, like, so I could know what they're going to talk about, and I'd have stories for each individual one. Often it will be that they want to hear about the projects you worked on or what you did in certain companies. Be ready for that.
So they would go through the resume and ask about certain, things on your resume.
Absolutely.
So be prepared for stories, right? Practice your storytelling technique, right?
Absolutely, always.
What are the questions that I, as a candidate, should expect from you? Like, are you going to ask me about my strengths, my weaknesses, the project I did? Like, what are you gonna ask me?
Absolutely. So I would definitely have
spill the tea.
I would definitely have your kind of strengths, and like always, go front foot with the things that you're strong with and you're an expert on. So
boast.
Yeah. You want to boast and remain likable. Like it's
don't boast, but tell the truth.
Yeah, okay.
Talk about good things. Yeah?
Of course. In terms of weaknesses, I would often flip those. Be aware of your own weaknesses, that you feel are weaknesses. Sometimes you might even be able to flip those into strengths. So let's say you've got a really junior candidate, doesn't have much experience. That's a weakness. But if you flip that into a strength, I'm young, I'm hungry, I want to learn, I've started early, like suddenly you're like, okay, he's a real go-getter, not he's too junior, he's a go-getter. So you flip.
So if you are a junior specialist, this is what you can say. Yeah, my weakness is I'm new to this thing, but this is even better for you as a company. That's what you can say.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. I'm super hungry and I want to learn. Like it's
Yeah.
not, I don't have experience, I'm super hungry, I want to learn. And there's many different, the flip side of that, you've got maybe a candidate with 20 years experience and maybe they're a bit old, bit out of touch. No, you're super experienced, you know what you're doing, you're top of the run, all of that good stuff.
Sometimes it's a weakness, actually.
That's what I'm saying. So sometimes if you're too experienced, that is genuinely seen as a red flag. People think you're out of touch. So what I'm saying is you flip that. But
then you have to flip it the other way.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So it depends on the position you're applying for, right?
Yeah,
and like you can always flip your strength for weaknesses and vice versa.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what it is. What about situational questions? Like, the times when you ask, like, tell me about the time when you had to work under pressure, or like, tell me about the time when you had to deal with the conflict, or things like that. What are these questions like, and what do you expect people to tell you?
So with these ones, it's very much like storytelling. You want to be able to articulate what you did in a digestible manner, and for it to be relevant. Sometimes people don't give enough information on these questions, but then again, sometimes people ramble. So you want to find like a sweet spot where you kept someone engaged.
Not too long and not too short.
Yeah. And in terms of the situational questions that they might ask, they're always going to want to know like what the positive impact of your work was, like whatever the industry or whatever the role.
Yeah, so always talk about the result, right? The impact, the outcome of whatever you did. Like you build the product, what happened? Who you built it for, and like what happened in the end. I actually have another question. So could you please share three must-do things in a job interview, and 3 things to avoid in a job interview?
So I'm gonna go back to the research that you put in ahead of it. So you're going to want to understand the business really well. So, great, you can do a Google search, anyone can do that. But did you look at the articles for the business? Did you look on what they're working on? All of that stuff you can then feed into the conversation with the recruiter, with the hiring manager, whoever it may be. And it elevates you above the other candidates that wouldn't have done any research, puts you in a really strong position. I would also say, research the person that you're having interview you, because this individual you might have something in common with them. It might be something that you can talk about their experience, because it's ultimately it's 2 humans, right? It's not just you being under the spotlight, being interviewed. Ask them questions.
So the detective's office, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not being interrogated.
Exactly. So take advantage of all that information, because it's all out there, and show that you've done it. Don't just have it in the back, in case it comes up. Talk about it, actively bring it up. And you mentioned there, what are the 3 best things? So that's 1, preparation. I would say in terms of questions that you have prepared, I would always prepare really insightful questions.
Like what?
Great.
For example.
An example.
What do you want to be asked?
What do I want to be asked? I want to hear that they're actively looking at us as an employer. So if they're starting to ask me about what my first 6 months is going to look like, what does the team look like, what are the growth plans, like this is someone, okay, I hear those things, I'm like, okay, cool, this person is interested in us and they see us as a long-term option, not just, oh, this person's had 10 interviews this week and they don't care.
Wow, yeah, and also when you ask questions like that, you really care about the business, right? The business side of the company. I think this is what every employer values, when they can see that you're not only engineering, like you're not only an engineer, but you also think about the business side of the company, right? So that's very valuable. That's a very good recommendation. Now, what about the 3 things to avoid in a job interview?
To avoid. Goodness me. Some people get arrogant, I think, because a lot of these engineers.
The attitude, or
can be that, but I more mean let's say we're talking about software engineers, which is who I deal with. They will get 100 messages on LinkedIn, they will get people responding to their job adverts, and if they turn themselves on open to work, they might have 10 interviews that week.
Yeah.
People get cocky in the sense that they think everyone wants them, so they don't do any preparation. They're like, oh yeah, whatever, I'm going to get one of these jobs, I don't care, people are after me. And that energy comes through. I've had people turn up and they're like, what's this company? Like, I'm like, really? Like,
how about doing your research?
Yeah. how about you care? Do you know what I mean? So getting arrogant because the market's good. Don't do that. It's not. That's never going to resonate well with someone.
But actually, I want to add to this. I'm pretty sure you recruiting, in your recruiting network, you guys talk about people.
Go on, take us. We do.
You guys talk about these people, right?
Yeah, of course.
You're gonna pass the word to your fellow, recruiters or other companies, and that's gonna be rumors, not rumors actually, but a story going
it's
reputation.
About you.
It's a reputation, yeah. So but I feel, yeah, I understand people get so arrogant because of the market. It's, they're high demand and engineers don't care. But yeah, I heard sometimes recruiters would even have some kind of spreadsheet. I don't know if it's a rumor or not.
Yeah.
A spreadsheet where they would blacklist the candidates.
I don't know about that. But I don't know about that. If we get we will always. Well, I don't know about that.
Okay.
We
got this. And maybe this is just for smaller communities. All right, two more
bad things. Yes.
Things, yeah.
Yes.
All right. What else?
What else? The resume is almost like a legal document. Don't lie. Never, ever.
Yeah.
I had one candidate. He'd done super well on the process. Brilliant candidate, knew all his stuff, but the dates on his resume were fabricated. They were.
Why did he do this?
To make it more favourable. So let's say you've got 3-4 months out of work or something like that.
Oh, you had a gap.
Yeah, exactly. Some employers don't like that, and that's fair enough. But he lied, and it cost him the job because they did a background check. They found out he didn't work the dates that he said he worked, and then the job offer disappeared. So it's really disappointing. So yeah, don't lie on your resume.
Okay, all right. Is there anything else that you would like to add, things to do and things to avoid in job interviews?
Things to avoid. Don't ever trash talk your previous employer.
Oh, that's a good point.
Big red flag. Always speak highly of them, even if there's a reason you're moving on that you're not happy with. Put it in the best light, because if you're talking about them negatively, it's
of course
never a good sign, because then you're going to do it at the next stage, and it's just it's not a good look.
That's true. Yeah, so that's going to be a no right there. And if you like I had in my career, when I interviewed a person and asked them what they know about our company, and they said, oh no, I didn't look at your website, and I was like, okay, that's a no, technically, right? Do your research, prepare. Okay, let's say I'm looking for a job abroad, and what are the things that you recommend I focus on in order to nail the job, in order to find the job and get the job that I want?
Absolutely. So you want to be the most relevant person for the job. You want to make sure your resume is all ready, and we've talked about that. That's all a given. You do want to aim for companies that can relocate people, that can sponsor visas. If we're talking about the US, obviously you're going to need an H-1B visa. You can search online companies that hire people with an H-1B visa. Boom, suddenly you have 100 companies that actively entertain people with your applications. Let's say some startups are more than happy to do that, by the way.
Okay, yeah, really?
But some startups won't have the budget to support visas because it's a slightly more costly way of doing it. So be aware of that and do your research into who can actually support your visa.
What about develop your company? What kind of companies do you guys work with, and what kind of talent do you work with? And what do you do for them, by the way? It's very interesting. I should have asked you at the very beginning.
So we focus on software development recruitment. So we're broken down into different niche areas. So for example, I'll work on full stack technologies. So I might work on JavaScript roles, Java roles, but we'll have other departments that focus on, say, .NET or Python. So we'll be broken down into these niche areas, and we'll help recruit for engineers of those specific types. In terms of the different companies, right now, like I said, lots of startups, but we'll work with any kind of software company that's scaling. We found a lot of success with fintech, crypto, healthcare, all sorts of different businesses right now. But
where are your clients based? This company is the US or Europe?
Yeah, so our business has been running for 10 plus years now. We've got a big client base in the UK and across Germany. But we're also, my personal focus is across the US, and we'll do that out of our Miami office, but fully remotely across the US.
Nice. Okay. Do you also do like only relocation or just remote work as well?
Yeah, so we're able to, it will often be remote within the US, or it will be that in some cases we can help people relocate. Rarer, often companies want people that are already in the US, so if you have the ability to move here before you even get a job, 100% do that.
Gotcha. So if I'm a software engineer and I'm looking for a job, do I come to you and you guys help me find a job? Is that how it works?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. So we'll always be very active and noisy about what we're looking to hire for. So you can go on our website, you can go and see, if we're looking for something similar to your skill set, we'd love to hear from you, and I'm sure we'll be able to do everything we can to help.
Gotcha. Very interesting. I actually recently someone mentioned that when they were looking for their first job at an international company, they picked to apply for a job at a startup. It was. She said that it was easier than applying for a job since this is your first job at an international company than a big company. Like startup is better than the big company for that. What do you think?
Interesting. I think sometimes it can be easy to get noticed in a startup. If you make your application and you send a nice follow-up message to maybe the recruiter or maybe the person that said they were hiring for this role, you're going to have a really good shot, because the company's smaller, maybe things get noticed more. If it's a big company, you don't necessarily have the option to have that personal touch, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it really depends. I can't say that it's easier to get a job at one versus the other, because that would be unfair.
Yeah, okay. I think it's all individual, but I also believe that it's what you believe in. If I believe that it's easier to get a job at a startup, I'll get a job at a startup, because I work harder for that.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. What about resources, Zach? Where do people go to look for a job? What are the websites maybe, or like you said, LinkedIn, but is there anything else?
Yeah, always LinkedIn, top of the list. If you're looking to go into a startup, there's a lot of different platforms. Otter, for example, Wellfound, which was AngelList. Those are often more tailored specific to startups, and if you're relocating, which we talked about, there's even specific websites which I can send you the links for, which focus,
we'll drop all the links.
which focus on companies that can sponsor. So there's a wealth of information out there.
That's amazing. And for a big of my audience is people who are non-native English speakers, so I have to ask a question about language. So what's the language? What's the minimum criteria for your English fluency?
Super important. That is something that you need to be aware of. Like if you're applying for an English speaking company, that's going to be a minimum requirement. You need to have perfect or near perfect English. I would also stress it might be worth looking. Let's say let's say you're relocating and your English isn't perfect, but you have another language. Maybe look for companies that are from your country but have offices in a different location, and that might give you a nice bridge over there, and then you get the opportunity to move there without having perfect language skills. But it really depends again.
Yeah. What about soft skills and hard skills? Like as an engineer, you said you have a set of hard skills, right? Can your soft skills help you kind of fill in the gaps if you're not perfect with your hard skills?
100%.
Is it possible?
Yeah, soft skills. I mean, one thing I always look for is how driven someone is, or how much they want to learn, or just how likable they are. Because if someone's likable and friendly, and they give you the right vibe, you want to help them, and that will be the same for any hiring manager.
Yeah. So here it's for personality, but also I think it's an understanding of culture, right? Because like I feel like some cultures they are more reserved in the way they communicate and they come across, and not necessarily they're rude, you know. But like when you have these like 30 minutes or even 5 minutes for, I don't know, introductory call with a recruiter or a job interview, you have to really go out of your way to show that you are likable, that you are friendly, you know. You don't have like the day or like 2 days to practice, like to open up. So it's kind of difficult for introverted. What do you think for introverted personalities? They really have to practice a lot.
I mean, you can be, you know, you're not expected to be like a big personality, like right in your face. No one wants that, but you still can be likable and enjoyable to be around and polite and friendly. You can still do all of those things whilst being an introvert. I completely think that's
just
possible.
Be nice. Be nice and kind. Absolutely.
It's nice to be nice, right?
All right. Yeah, this is true. Is there anything else you would like to add here to our conversation to share with the audience, you know, who are looking for a job and who want to, I don't know, nail their job and get a higher salary, work for top-notch, you know, company on a top-notch project?
What can I share? Just put yourself out there. Some people get demoralized. You might go for 100 interviews before you get a role.
That's so true.
But keep going. Like there's that good thing's going to be out there. But yeah, just keep putting yourself out there and use different methods. It's not going to be one size fits all. And
keep up the good work.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's like when you're raising capital, right? You got to talk to 100 investors.
There you go. Don't be afraid of rejection.
Exactly. Practice rejection. Practice accepting rejections, right? 100 people you talk to, and one will invest in you, right?
Yes.
The same with the best company, with the company of your dreams. You go to 100 interviews, and then you get the job of your dream. So good luck.
Perfect.